Your breakfast routine feels safe, doesn't it? Pour the cereal, add the milk, grab a spoon, and start your day. It is comforting, familiar, maybe even nostalgic. But what if that colorful box sitting in your pantry is hiding something that would make you lose your appetite faster than a bowl of soggy flakes? What if the brands you have trusted since childhood are feeding you more than just wheat and oats? 6 cereal companies dominate your grocery store shelves. 6 household names. 6 brands that have convinced millions of families they are making the right choice for breakfast. But behind the cheerful packaging and promises of whole grains and natural ingredients, there is a darker story involving hidden sugars, banned chemicals, contamination, pesticides, false advertising, and corporate betrayal. This is systematic, this is intentional, and this is affecting you right now. Drop a comment and tell us which cereal brand you grew up eating. Hit that like button and subscribe, because we are about to expose what these companies have been hiding in plain sight. You may want to finish this video before you finish that bowl, because once you know what is really in these boxes, you might never look at cereal the same way again. Let us start with the biggest name in the business, the one that practically invented breakfast cereal as we know it. Welcome to Kellogg's, the cereal empire built on wholesome family breakfasts. Tony the Tiger, Toucan Sam, Snap Crackle, and Pop. These are not just mascots. They are marketing tools designed to make you forget what is actually inside the box. And what is inside? More sugar than a candy bar, hidden behind health claims that would make a snake oil salesman blush. Special K, marketed as a weight management solution, contains 11 grams of sugar per serving. But Kellogg's defines a serving as 3/4 of a cup. Who eats 3/4 of a cup? Most people pour double that, meaning you are starting your diet with over 20 grams of sugar. That is more sugar than 2 glazed donuts. Raisin Bran packs 18 grams of sugar per serving. Those raisins you think are naturally sweet, coated in additional sugar syrup. A former Kellogg's product developer admitted the company's strategy is simple: maximize sugar content while keeping the word natural on the box. He said, "We are not selling nutrition, we are selling taste that people mistake for nutrition." Fruit Loops looks like a chemistry experiment. A parent posted a viral video showing what happens when you soak Fruit Loops in water. The liquid turned bright neon colors like toxic waste. The cereal became pale and gray, revealing the vibrant appearance was entirely artificial. One commenter wrote, "I thought I was feeding my kid breakfast. Turns out I was feeding them a science fair project." The sugar is not just about taste. It is about addiction. High-sugar cereals trigger the same brain reward centers as drugs. Kellogg's has teams of food scientists engineering the perfect sweetness level to keep you coming back. One insider called it the bliss point, the exact amount of sugar that makes your brain crave more without consciously realizing why. Millions of families pour Kellogg's cereals every morning because the boxes promise whole grains and essential vitamins. Because nostalgia is a powerful drug, and Kellogg's has been dealing it for over a century. But sugar is just the beginning. General Mills wants you to believe Cheerios are heart-healthy and Lucky Charms are magically delicious. What they do not want you to know is that you are eating a chemical cocktail engineered in a lab. Welcome to the Chemical Breakfast Club, where preservatives have more syllables than you can pronounce, and artificial dyes have rap sheets longer than most criminals. Let us start with BHT, or butylated hydroxytoluene. This preservative is in many General Mills cereals to keep them fresh for months. Sounds reasonable until you learn BHT is also used in jet fuel, rubber, petroleum products, and embalming fluid. Yes, embalming fluid. The same substance morticians use to preserve dead bodies is keeping your Cocoa Puffs crunchy. One food scientist said, "If it can preserve a corpse, what do you think it is doing to your living cells?" Then there are artificial dyes. Red 40, yellow 5, blue 1. These synthetic dyes have been linked to hyperactivity and behavioral issues in children. Multiple European studies found the connection strong enough that countries like Norway and Austria banned them outright. But in the United States, General Mills keeps using them because they make cereal look fun, and fun sells better than beige. Here is the infuriating part. General Mills reformulates these same cereals for European markets, removing harmful dyes and replacing them with natural alternatives like beet juice and turmeric. They know how to make these products without chemicals. They just choose not to in America because our regulations are weaker. A former employee revealed the company determined it was cheaper to keep using synthetic dyes and fight occasional legal battles than reformulate for North America. They did the math on your child's health and decided profit won. One mother posted side-by-side photos of Lucky Charms bought in the U.S. versus Germany. The American version was electric neon. The European version was muted, made with natural colors. She wrote, "Same company, same product name, completely different ingredients. They are poisoning us on purpose." The post went viral. General Mills never responded. And let us talk about natural flavors. That vague term on every ingredient list. It can mean plant extracts. It can also mean secretions from beaver anal glands used to create artificial raspberry and vanilla flavoring. Castoreum is classified as natural because it comes from an animal. So when your cereal lists natural flavors, there is a non-zero chance you are eating beaver butt juice. Post-consumer brands. The company behind Honey Bunches of Oats, Fruity Pebbles, and Grape Nuts. They seem harmless enough. But there is something Post does not advertise. Something that could be growing inside the boxes right now. Invisible and dangerous. We are talking about mold. Cereal seems shelf-stable, but grain-based foods are vulnerable to mold, especially when stored improperly. Multiple warehouse inspections have cited moisture control issues, improper ventilation, and temperature fluctuations, creating perfect conditions for mold growth. One former warehouse employee said condensation often dripped from the ceiling onto pallets of product. We were told to just rotate the boxes and ship them out anyway. Mold does not always look like fuzzy green stuff. In cereals, it can be microscopic, invisible but still producing mycotoxins, toxic compounds causing nausea, headaches, respiratory issues, and liver damage. A study found up to 30% of grain-based products tested positive for mycotoxin contamination, even when they appeared fine. Post cereals were in that sample. One customer opened Honey Bunches of Oats and noticed a strange musty smell. She poured it anyway. Halfway through eating, she saw tiny black specks throughout. She posted a photo online. The comments exploded. "That is mold. Do not eat that." When she contacted Post, they offered her a $5 coupon and asked her to mail the contaminated cereal back. She never heard from them again. The packaging is part of the problem. Cereal boxes are not airtight. That thin plastic liner can tear during shipping, and moisture gets in. If cereal sits too long or gets exposed to humidity, mold spores activate, and you cannot always taste it. Mycotoxins can be present without affecting flavor but still harm your body with repeated exposure. Post has also been caught relabeling products approaching best-by dates with new stickers extending the timeline by months. A whistleblower said warehouses would do this to avoid throwing out product that costs money, but best-by dates exist for a reason. They account for nutrient degradation, preservative breakdown, and contamination potential. Extending those dates is not just dishonest, it is dangerous. Quaker Oats. The friendly man in the hat. The warm bowl your grandmother made on cold mornings. The wholesome, simple, all-natural breakfast. Quaker built its brand on trust, on the idea that oats are pure and good for you. And then independent labs started testing their products for glyphosate, and that wholesome image crumbled. Glyphosate is the active ingredient in Roundup, the weed killer linked to cancer. The World Health Organization classified it as a probable human carcinogen, and it has been found in Quaker products at alarming levels. The Environmental Working Group tested 45 oat-based foods in 2018. 43 contained glyphosate. Quaker products were among the worst offenders. Quaker old-fashioned oats, Quaker instant oatmeal, chewy granola bars, all contaminated. How does weed killer end up in oatmeal? farmers spray glyphosate on oat crops just before harvest to dry them out. It is called desiccation. The chemical gets absorbed into the oats themselves, and no processing removes it. When you buy Quaker oats and cook it for breakfast, you are not just eating oats, you are eating trace amounts of poison. The levels are measured in parts per billion, which sounds small until you realize children eat these products daily, sometimes multiple times a day. A toddler eating Quaker instant oatmeal and snacking on Chewy bars is getting repeated exposure to a chemical linked to non-Hodgkin lymphoma, liver damage, and endocrine disruption. One toxicologist said, "There is no safe level of glyphosate for children. The fact that it is in their breakfast at all is unacceptable." Quaker's response has been predictable. They deny wrongdoing, claim their products are safe, and point to government thresholds that allow higher glyphosate levels than independent scientists recommend. In legal filings, Quaker argued that glyphosate residue is unavoidable in modern agriculture. Translation: everyone else is doing it, so why should we stop? That is not reassurance. That is an admission they know there is a problem and decided not to fix it. Here is the kicker. Quaker also sells organic oat products containing little to no glyphosate because organic farming prohibits its use. So Quaker knows how to source clean oats. They just choose not to for conventional products because it costs more. They would rather sell you poison at a discount than clean food at a fair price. Nature's Path. The name sounds like a peaceful walk through a forest where everything is pure, sustainable, and untouched by corporate greed. The packaging features birds, trees, and sunshine. They are organic, non-GMO, and supposedly everything big cereal companies are not. And that is what makes them dangerous. When a brand markets itself as the moral alternative, people stop asking questions. They assume organic equals healthy, and Nature's Path is counting on that ignorance to keep selling cereal at double the price. Here is what most people do not know about organic certification. It does not mean chemical-free. It does not mean pesticide-free. It just means the chemicals used are on an approved list deemed natural. But natural does not equal harmless. Rotenone, a pesticide allowed in organic farming, is toxic to humans and linked to Parkinson's disease. Copper sulfate can accumulate and cause liver damage. These are sprayed on organic crops, including the oats, wheat, and corn in Nature's Path cereals. And then there is sugar. Nature's Path loves to talk about whole grains and fiber, but their cereals are loaded with sugar. Enviro Kids Amazon Frosted Flakes contain 12 grams per serving. That is only 1 gram less than Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Organic Maple Sunrise has 9 grams per 3/4 cup. You are paying $6 a box for the same sugar you would get from cheap stuff, except now it comes from organic cane juice. Spoiler alert, your body processes them exactly the same way. The real problem is contamination. Organic cereals are often processed in facilities handling conventional products, which means cross-contamination is not just possible, it is likely. A study found many certified organic products contain trace amounts of synthetic pesticides, GMOs, and heavy metals because of shared equipment. Nature's Path has never been fully transparent about their supply chain, which raises a massive red flag. Testing has also revealed concerning heavy metal levels in some organic cereals, including Nature's Path products. Arsenic, lead, and cadmium naturally accumulate in rice and grains, but organic farming does not reduce those levels. In some cases, organic produce contains higher concentrations because organic fertilizers like manure can introduce contaminants. One lab found arsenic levels high enough to warrant caution, especially for young children eating cereal daily. Then there is price. Nature's Path cereals cost 2 to 3 times more than conventional brands, and for what? Slightly cleaner ingredient lists that still contain sugar, processing methods that strip nutrients, and contamination risks that undermine the entire organic promise. You are not buying better nutrition. You are buying better marketing. One nutritionist said, "Organic junk food is still junk food. Slapping a green label on a box of sugar does not make it healthy." Kashi. If you were paying attention to health food trends in the early 2000s, you remember when Kashi felt like a revolution. It was the cereal brand for people who read ingredient lists, who cared about whole grains and protein. Kashi was authentic, transparent, and genuinely different. And then, in 2012, Kellogg's bought them for $2.7 billion, and everything that made Kashi special quietly disappeared. But the marketing did not. The branding stayed wholesome, and millions kept buying, unaware the company they trusted had been gutted. The changes started subtly. Recipes were reformulated to cut costs. Organic ingredients were replaced with conventional alternatives. Suppliers changed. A former Kashi employee said, "Within 2 years, it was Kashi in name only. Everything special was stripped out to boost profit margins. We were told to keep quiet and let the marketing do the talking." And the marketing did talk. Kashi boxes still featured words like natural, wholesome, and nothing artificial. Except those claims were not entirely true anymore. In 2011, a consumer advocacy group tested Kashi products and found several cereals labeled as natural contained genetically modified ingredients. Kashi's Golean cereal tested positive for GMO soy. Their Heart-to-Heart line contained GMO corn and canola oil. This was not trace contamination. These were primary ingredients. The backlash was fierce. A class action lawsuit was filed accusing Kashi of misleading consumers. Customers paying premium prices for what they believed were clean products felt betrayed. One plaintiff said, "I chose Kashi specifically to avoid GMOs. I paid extra for that promise, and they lied." Kashi settled for $5 million without admitting wrongdoing, but the damage was done, or should have been. Here is the problem. Most people never heard about the lawsuit. Kashi did not make a public announcement. They quietly reformulated a few products, added certifications, and kept selling with the same wholesome image. And because Kashi was now backed by Kellogg's massive distribution network, they were everywhere. The corporate takeover that ruined the brand also made it more profitable than ever. Ingredient comparisons between pre-acquisition and post-acquisition products tell the story. The original Golean Crunch contained organic oats, organic honey, and minimal processing. The current version lists sugar as the third ingredient, includes soy protein isolate, a highly processed additive, and uses oils likely GMO despite vague natural flavor claims. The protein content is the same, but the quality is not. Longtime Kashi fans have posted complaints across social media. One wrote, "Golean used to taste nutty and wholesome. Now it tastes like cardboard with a chemical aftertaste." Another said, "I have been eating Kashi for 15 years. Something changed around 2013. I finally switched brands." These are loyal customers who noticed the product they trusted had fundamentally changed, even though the box still promised the same thing. The Kashi story is a warning about what happens when independent health brands get swallowed by corporate giants. The brand name survives, the marketing survives, but the integrity, the mission, the reason people loved it, that all gets sacrificed for profit. Kellogg's did not buy Kashi because they believed in the philosophy. They bought it because health-conscious consumers were willing to pay more. Once they owned the name, they could do whatever they wanted with the product, and most people would never notice. So, if you are still buying Kashi thinking you are supporting a health-conscious alternative, you are not. You are supporting Kellogg's, the same company hiding sugar bombs behind health claims. The box might say Kashi, but the company cashing your check is the cereal giant that prioritizes profit over everything else. 6 companies, 6 different betrayals. Now let us talk about what this all actually means. 6 cereal companies. 6 different ways to betray your trust. Kellogg's hides sugar behind health claims and cartoon mascots. General Mills fills your bowl with chemicals banned in other countries. Post lets mold grow invisibly in boxes on your shelf. Quaker sprays your oatmeal with cancer-linked pesticides and calls it unavoidable. Nature's Path charges double for organic labels that promise more than they deliver. and Kashi sold out to the corporate giant they were supposed to be the alternative to, then kept pretending nothing changed. The common thread is not incompetence. It is calculated profit over safety. These companies know exactly what they are doing. They have the research, the labs, the resources to make cleaner products. They just choose not to because it costs more and cuts into margins. They would rather spend millions on marketing to convince you their cereal is wholesome than spend thousands reformulating it to actually be wholesome. That breakfast bowl you thought was safe? It was never about nourishing you. It was about keeping you coming back, keeping you uninformed, and keeping the money flowing. Remember what we said at the start. Your morning routine feels safe because it is familiar, but familiarity is not the same as safety, and trust is not the same as truth. These brands built their empires on your trust, your nostalgia, your assumption that something sold in a grocery store must be okay. They are counting on you not reading ingredient lists, not questioning health claims, not searching for independent testing results. They are counting on you staying asleep while they profit. So what do? You wake up. You read labels. You ask questions. You demand better. Not just from these 6 companies, but from the entire food industry. You stop letting marketing do your thinking, and you remember that cheap, convenient, and colorful does not mean clean, safe, or honest. Eating should not be a gamble. Breakfast should not come with a side of pesticides, mold, and corporate betrayal. But until these companies face real consequences, nothing will change. The only power you have is what you choose to put in your cart and what you choose to put in your body. If this video made you rethink what is sitting in your pantry right now, hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep exposing what the food industry does not want you to know. Drop a comment and tell us which cereal brand shocked you the most, or if you have ever had a bad experience with any of these companies. And share this with anyone still pouring these cereals without knowing what is really inside the box, because the truth is not on the nutrition label, but it is right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, breakfast should fuel you, not fool you.